Hello aspirants, my name is Sonar and today we are going to discuss about minerals. Minerals are inorganic warriors that keep our body going. So today we are going to discuss about various sources of minerals, what are their functions and what deficiencies they could create in our body if they are not supplied in adequate amount through our food. So without any further delay, let us start the topic. Friends, first of all, we must know what are minerals. So basically, minerals are essential micronutrients that are required in very less amount. Though it is required in very less amount, but it is required. And if it is not given in adequate amount, it could lead to certain deficiencies. Now, it has several functions in our body, but it is required in very small amount in our body, and that is why such elements are known as trace elements. Trace elements. So, what are their functions? They are essential for many enzymes and hormonal functions. So, friends, whenever I am saying enzymes, enzymes are nothing but biological catalysts that increases the reactions of any sort of biological reactions, and hormones are nothing but biological messengers. It helps in the growth and overall development of body. So friends, there are certain minerals which are required by our body, and we are going to discuss one by one every one of them. So the first and the most important is iron. Iron is having the chemical symbol of Fe. And what are the functions of iron? The functions of iron is it helps to make hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the pigment by which the color of blood is red, and its function is to carry oxygen in our blood. Iron is essential for activating certain enzymes that are biological catalysts and for making amino acids. Friends, remember, amino acids are the building block of proteins. So it means many amino acids, they combine together and they form amino acids, collagen, neurotransmitters and hormones. Hormones, as I've told you earlier, that these are biological messengers, and neurotransmitter is also having the same function as hormones, but it carries messages from the central nervous system to our various parts of the body. So these are known as neurotransmitters. So friends, the deficiency disease which it can cause if we are not having adequate amount of iron in our body, it could lead to anemia. Now what is anemia? It is less hemoglobin in our blood, and in course of time the blood counts also reduces. So see, this is the normal condition and this is the anemic condition. So how we can get rid of certain iron deficiencies such as anemia? So friends, try to include green leafy vegetables, apples, pears, spinach, etc. in our food. If we are having such vegetables or such things in our diet, we will be able to reduce the chance of iron deficiency. So try to include green vegetables, apples, etc. in our diet. So moving towards the next slide, we are having calcium. So with a chemical symbol of Ca, calcium is also one of the most important minerals that are required for our growth and development. What are its function? It helps in bone and teeth formation. Remember friends, our bone, teeth, etc., all of these are made of calcium and phosphorus. Apart from that, it activates enzymes, the biological catalyst throughout the body. It helps to regulate blood pressure. Yes, our blood pressure is also regulated by calcium, and helps muscle contraction. Our muscles contract, relax, and calcium plays an important role in this too. So it also helps nerves to send certain messages, be it from the brain to the other parts or be it from the parts of the body to the brain. So, and it also helps the blood to clot. Blood clotting is basically the phenomenon by which our bleeding stops. So this is known as blood clotting. So friends, what are the deficiency diseases of Calcium. Osteoporosis is one of the deficiency diseases if we are not having proper amount of calcium in our body. See, this is the normal bone and this is osteoporosis, a condition in which our bone becomes porous, and in such condition it becomes weak and it can easily break. So, if you want to get rid of certain calcium deficiency diseases, what we can do? We can include milk and dairy products, we can include spinach, we can include gram, kidney beans, etc. So, if we are having these things in our diet, we could avoid the calcium deficiency too. So, moving towards the next slide, we are having sodium with a chemical symbol of Na. Sodium is also considered as one of the most important minerals that are required for our growth as well as our development. So what are its function? It maintains body fluids, it helps to send nerve impulses, that is the nerve messages from the brain to the body parts or to the body parts to the brain. It also helps in the muscle contraction, relaxation. All of these are helped by the sodium mineral. Now, friends, if we are not having proper amount of sodium in our diet, it could lead to a condition known as hyponatremia. Now, what is hyponatremia? It is characterized by several symptoms. These are nausea, headache, confusion, fatigue, etc. Fatigue is a condition where you will feel you will not get any energy to work. Okay, such conditions are known as fatigue. You feel tired. Okay, headache, etc. And if we want to get rid of sodium deficiencies, that we must include sea salt, rock salt, seafood, etc. in our diet, because these foods are rich in sodium. See, seafood is rich in sodium. So moving towards the next slide, we are having potassium with a chemical symbol of K. And what are its function? The function of potassium is it maintains body fluids. It helps to maintain a steady heartbeat. Yes, friends, a steady heartbeat is required for normal functioning of our body, is not it? And potassium plays an important role in this too. And it also makes muscle contract. Along with calcium, sodium, potassium also helps in the muscle contraction and may benefit bones and blood pressure. Yes, it also helps in bone and blood pressure development. Now, what could be the deficiency diseases? See, friends, numbness, breathing issues, etc. Now, friends, what do we mean by numbness? Numbness is a condition in which you tend to stop feeling a particular part of our body. Okay, you feel like you're not at all feeling any pain or any sensation at that particular part of our body. So this is known as numbness. So how we can get rid of potassium deficiencies? If we are including banana, spinach, mushroom, etc. in our diet, we can get rid of potassium deficiencies. Potassium deficiencies. Moving to the next slide, we are having zinc. Zinc is also considered as one of the most important mineral, as it has a chemical symbol of Zn, and it is important in blood clotting. Blood clotting, as I've told you earlier, what is blood clotting? It also helps to make proteins and DNA. DNA is nothing but deoxyribonucleic acid that basically contains the genetic information, and it also helps in the development of immune system and helps with wound healing and cell division. Wound healing, our wound is healed if zinc is given to our cells through diet. If adequate amount of zinc is provided to us through diet, it helps us to heal our wound. Friends, so what could be the deficiency diseases? If we are not having adequate amount of zinc in our diet, it could lead to growth retardation, weakness of immune system. And when our immune system is weak, we are very prone to diseases. we will become very vulnerable to diseases. So weakened immune system. And how we can get rid of zinc deficiency? If we are including meat, eggs, nuts, etc. in our diet, it could give us adequate amount of zinc, and at that time we will not have such deficiencies. So moving towards the next slide, we are having iodine. Iodine. Friends, often we have seen certain commercials in which it has been shown that, is your salt having iodine? So why iodine is necessary? Why iodine is necessary? Because iodine is required for the synthesis of thyroid hormones, and it regulates the metabolism. The sum of all the chemical reactions, the making and breaking, is known as the metabolism. So friends, if adequate amount of iodine is not given to us by food, it could lead to certain conditions known as goiter or creatinism. So both of them are related to iodine deficiency, and what it could lead to, it could lead to the swelling of thyroid gland. See, this is the thyroid gland, and if it swells, it leads to a condition known as goiter. Creatinism is also related to the deficiency of iodine, and in creatinism you will find that the growth and development, overall growth, be it physical or mental, the growth is retarded, and this condition is known as creatinism. So what could be the food source if we want to get rid of iodine deficiency? Iodized salt, dairy, seafood, seaweed, etc. Seafood is a rich source of iodine too. And milk. Friends, moving towards the next slide, we are having magnesium. So magnesium is having a chemical symbol of Mg. Mg is the chemical symbol of magnesium. So basically, what are the functions of magnesiums in our body? Basically, it supports muscle and nerve function, regulates blood pressure, and aids in enzyme activity. Enzymes are nothing but biological catalyst. Enzymes are nothing but biological catalyst. So basically, when we are not having adequate amount of magnesiums in our body, what it could lead? It could lead to muscle cramps and mental disorders. Muscle cramps are nothing but it is a condition in which our muscle contracts involuntarily, and believe me, it is very painful. So these are the deficiency diseases that could arise if we are not having adequate amount of magnesium in our diet. So if we want to get rid of certain deficiencies, we must include whole grains, nuts, leafy vegetables, legumes, etc. in our diet. So moving towards the next slide, we are having phosphorus. Friends, as I've told you earlier that for the formation of bone and teeth, phosphorus is very important. Phosphorus is very important for the formation of bones and teeth. And along with that, it also required for the production of energy, DNA and RNA production. DNA is nothing but deoxyribonucleic acid, and RNA are nothing but ribonucleic acid. Basically, they are related to genetic information. So what could be the deficiency diseases if we are not having phosphorus in our diet? It could lead to weakness, bone pain, and fragile bones. Fragile bones is a certain condition in which our bone becomes very weak that it may break. So this is known as fragile bone. And if we want to get rid of phosphorus deficiency, we must include meat, fish, dairy, nuts, and beans in our diet. So that is why dairy, basically the milk, is known as a complete food. So moving towards the next slide, we are having copper. So copper is having a chemical symbol of Cu. Cu is the chemical symbol of copper. So basically it helps in iron absorption, RBC formation, and brain development. Remember friends, copper helps in the iron absorption. So if adequate amount of iron is not present in our body, hemoglobin will not be formed. Basically, why? Because hemoglobin is formed of iron only. And this copper helps in the absorption of iron. So if there is a deficiency of copper, it could lead to deficiency of iron, and ultimately it can lead to anemia. Apart from that, it could also lead to neurological problems, which means problems related to our nervous system. So if you want to get rid of these, we must include liver, nuts, seeds, shellfish, whole grains, etc. in our diet. Moving towards the next slide, we are having selenium. Selenium, the chemical symbol of selenium is Se. The chemical symbol of selenium is Se, and it acts as an antioxidant. Now friends, what is an antioxidant? Antioxidant is a substance that basically neutralizes the free radical produced through various reactions in our body. Through various reactions in our body, the antioxidants, it neutralizes the free radicals that are basically harmful for our body. It supports thyroid and immune functions. So its deficiency could lead to weakening of immune system. Weakening of immune system. So it could lead to weakening of our immune system, and if our immune system is weak, we can easily get certain diseases. So if we want to get rid of the deficiency of selenium, we must include Brazil nuts, fish, eggs, sunflower seeds, etc. in our diet. Friends, if you want to learn more interesting topics in simple and easier manner, stay connected with Edufy.